We're coming up on the last event of this whole program, and that's the New York City Marathon. The last 2 years I've done it, I've really finished in some considerable pain.
New York City is different from every other marathon. You have to really prepare right and be as ready as you can for it.
Pacing is something I really have to get better at so that I have something left at the end. Here we are high atop the city of Portland, Oregon, ready to meet with Shalane Flanagan, a world-class endurance athlete. I'm just hoping to get something from her that will help me be successful with the upcoming New York City Marathon. How are you?
Good,
Cool.
how are
Chilly?
you?
Good,
Nice to meet you. We got a nice fall day.
Yes.
Be perfect practice for New York.
She's probably a pretty good person to talk to considering that her first New York Marathon was last year and she finished second.
My name is Shalane Flanagan. I'm an Olympic bronze medalist on the 10K on the track. My best marathon time was in New York City. I was second place in 2:28:40. New York City course is very challenging, and really in the last 3 miles when you hit Central Park, it's killer. Your legs are trashed, and it just takes everything in you to just get to that finish line. Today, I'm gonna take Ryan on my favorite course for preparation for New York. We're gonna start up right up here.
Okay.
It's a 3.5 mile loop.
All right.
And it kind of undulates up and down, and we'll just try to have a little fun. So you were in New York last year.
Last year and the year before.
And so, which one was your best? You said 3:20.
Someday I'd like to run one marathon under 3 hours.
Yeah, well, New York's a tough one to do it.
In terms of what Shalane and I actually did, it was just basically a 7-mile run. The difference being that normally I'm running by myself, and this time I had someone coach me as far as what sort of things I should focus on.
I think the most efficient way to run your best race is to actually either run exactly even pace, if not negative split. So I'm trying to reinforce to Ryan that patience is really essential in the marathon, and conserving as much energy in the first half is key to feeling really good at the end. Prior to the half, it's almost like you should be thinking, I could be able to carry on a conversation through the first 13 miles.
What I like are things that you can put into real world terms. She said, try and keep your pace for the first 13 miles at a conversational pace. So you're not really focusing on heart rate or numbers or wattage or any of these sort of confusing terms. You can easily monitor it by just having a conversation. And if you can do it, then you know you're at the right pace.
So that last mile we ran was like right at your marathon pace.
Okay.
Like 7:20.
Because it was downhill, that's why.
I'm a big believer in mental and visual preparation. I like to practice pretty much everything that I'm going to go through on race day. I chose this course day so that Ryan could visualize himself going over the bridges into the 5 different boroughs, and this course specifically has those undulations that are going to be really similar to New York. Like when I was preparing for New York last year, I literally visualized parts of the course. And then when it came to race day, it just made it that more comforting, kind of feeling like it was my home course.
Obviously I don't live in New York, so I can't run that course, but I can find things around where I do live to train my mind to get used to the same sorts of things. So you're not just running, but you're also mentally preparing for what the course is gonna bring.
At the end of a race, it's natural for everyone to just be tired, and you kind of start to lose focus. And I'm trying to reinforce to Ryan that even when you're tired, you can still maintain good posture if you focus on it. Your arm carriage is important,
right.
And kind of popping those shoulders or elbows back rather, and then keeping the chest open, because the chest is kind of like the gateway to all the oxygen, and you want to be able to take in as much as you can. You don't want to limit yourself by hunching forward. Okay, so like when we hit these hills, I'm always focusing on taking like short, quick steps. Almost like my legs are like firing like a piston.
Okay.
So short, quick, snappy kind of steps. Today, this 3.5 mile loop that we did twice, we pretty much were dead on at 7-minute pace. So that was a little bit faster than what you're going to want to race. But to go a little bit faster than race pace makes race pace feel better on race day.
What was kind of cool about what you were telling me is you sort of touched on the psychological end of it. So you're like, in your training, you kind of want to beat yourself up a little bit so that you can duplicate that in the race.
My coach describes it as like a callousing. You want to callous yourself to the pain. And then hopefully when you get into the race, it's like, well, I've done this in training. I've felt this discomfort. I know what it feels like, and I've gotten through it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So I think in order to like optimize your performance in New York, being really patient and containing excitement in the first half of the race and being a conversationalist kind of pace, you know, just keeping the posture really nice and tall, even though you're tired. You can take this home and practice on some of your training runs, simulating the course that you're going to endure.
I don't really feel like, oh, now this marathon's going to be a piece of cake. But I think with each visit that I have with these world-class elite athletes, I get knowledge that I know is going to really help me in the future.
Here we are in New York City for the ING New York City Marathon.
There's people lining the course with a ton of energy. There's 47,000 other people running it.
You just have to be very, very disciplined and set out on the pace that you planned and not get too excited.
I just felt really good at the beginning and I didn't want to slow down too much.
But there's a wall in any of these longer endurance races that you always have to hit. When that wall hits, I'm hoping that I've got enough to just burst through it and keep going.